Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. Paris Saint-Germain are set to face versus Aston Villa, and in today's video, I thought to myself to react to everyone's prediction heading into this game. First of all, we have Matt SB here. Never seen him before. Let's see his prediction.
Paris for PSG versus Aston Villa. This is absolutely fantastic. It's the stuff of dreams for those Aston Villa fans. They have made it to the Champions League quarter-finals. And can they do it is the question. Can they get past PSG and get to the Champions League semi-finals? Villa have got quite a lot going on. I still think there's a good chance they could finish in the top 5 in the Premier League. I still think they could win the FA Cup. They're in the semi-finals. But they are also going to want to put everything into this because they've come so far. And as I've said before, you've got Unai Emery, who's got a pedigree and a history of performing well in these European competitions.
You know, this is one thing. I know it's been very funny regarding Unai Emery. He's had one, outstanding-ish champion. It was outstanding, reaching the Champions League semi-final with Villarreal. But apart from that, he has a European pedigree. Like what he's done in the Europa League will not matter here. I don't know why Unai Emery suddenly became a genius. I know that he's been good in the Premier League the past 2 seasons with Aston Villa, but have some respect. You can't call anyone a European.
I think he'll know how to deal with PSG, but can he? Have they got the players to stop them? It is the Asensio derby, of course. PSG, top of League underwhelming, I will say, in the Champions League phase. They finished 15th, but they pulled off the biggest surprise of the knockout stages so far by knocking out Liverpool, who are obviously...
And again, just a surprise for casuals. Like, people knew ball were like, yeah, I saw this coming.
Top of the Premier League and finished top of the Champions League table. Aston Villa beat Club Brugge 6-1. Quite easy, really. Villa did turn them over. And you look at the players they've got here: McGinn, Watkins, Rodgers. Like I say, so much attacking power. Marcus Rashford's really come on well for Aston Villa recently. But PSG have got great attacking players. Dembele has scored 7 goals in the Champions League so far. I think both teams score in this. I just wonder, once again, what version of PSG turns up. If they do what they did against Liverpool to Villa, you've got to make PSG favourites. They were...
Why wouldn't that PSG... Again, a lot of people keep bringing up how, bad we were in the beginning of the Champions League this season. But that's completely irrelevant. If we say like the Liverpool tie, one game we performed really bad and the other one we performed really well, then yeah, you could say that. But we absolutely destroyed them in both games.
So good in both legs. What I want to ask you guys, by the way, is if this goes to penalties, which keeper would you rather have, Donnarumma or Martinez? They've got to be...
Again, I think after our penalty shootout, seeing what Donna did, and then PSG going to face Villa, knowing Martinez, I don't even know why this is supposed to be a discussion.
2 of the best goalkeepers when it comes to penalty shootouts, so that would be interesting. You've got Martinez, who won the World Cup with Argentina saving penalties, Donnarumma, who won Italy, Euro 2020 on penalties and beat Liverpool on penalties in the previous round. That would be a really fascinating matchup. As for a prediction, I think if Villa can get out of here with a draw, going back to Villa Park, that would be amazing. And if PSG are wasteful, then Villa might do that. I'm going to go for it. I know I've been accused of being biased towards the English teams, but look, I'm not backing Villa to win the away leg. I am backing them to draw it, though. 1-1. That's my prediction. Yes,
Okay, I mean, at least he was honest that it's definitely English bias, just how he talks. I just heard the English bias. We're just going to end
PSG are coming into this as favourites. That's understandable, but don't look past Aston Villa. They've surprised a lot of people in the Champions League this season.
Aston Villa. Aston Villa, do not underestimate Aston Villa.
And I think they're going to make life difficult for PSG. So I am going to go for a 1-1 draw. PSG and Villa fans, do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Try not to be too upset. I know we've all got an emotional attachment to our own clubs, but let me know your predictions with a level head. That second leg at Villa Park, though, is probably where it's going to be decided.
Villa Park. Villa Park and Villa, man. It's already started. I know that so many of these already one has predicted Aston Villa. At least here it was the English bias, and he's just trying to find that small way for Villa to go through it and just completely believe in it and put everything to the side. What PSG will we see? On to the next one. Alright, this has been a video that you guys have wanted me to watch for a long time. I already know what he's gonna predict. It's Faisal, a Madrid fan. Let's get it then.
Now, PSG have been knocked out. How about I tell you one thing right now? That Aston Villa will be going through to the semi-finals. That Unai Emery will get revenge on his former team. That Paris Saint-Germain...
two stuff I immediately catch on from this is, first of all, I think a lot of Madrid fans would love Aston Villa to knock out Paris Saint-Germain. Because yes, we faced twice in the knockout stages, you've knocked us out twice, but this is definitely the one that PSG has the highest likelihood of knocking Madrid out. Second of all, is this continuous agenda. Both Madrid, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie about it. I hate Madrid and I hate FC Barcelona. But Madrid fans and Barcelona fans potentially hate PSG even more than we hate their clubs. But let's see. You know what? Let's wait and see what's the reasons, apart from, you know, just feeling, which a lot of these creators are doing their opinions on.
The Paris Saint-Germain, the little fairy tale, the great run, the
Is Aston Villa that's on a fairy tale?
booze
Again, I don't even understand these like supposed jokes about PSG. I don't even understand them.
and Doué and Barcola and Kivic and Enrique and Neves and Vincent, this little fairy tale.
So he's calling the best team in the world, eye test, stats wise, everything, just a fairy tale. He think comparing us to some kind of Ajax team before or something. Very disrespectful. But the issue here is, this is not even his opinion, like a logical opinion. This is way more just his agenda. Like he just hates PSG, underrates PSG, undermines PSG. I don't even want to finish this, man.
Everyone has been saying the best team, the most entertaining. Yeah, it's all cute. Yeah, it's getting done, bro. This
Getting done.
Aston Villa will knock them out. You might be wondering what the hell I'm
Yeah, just emotional
about.
feeling as
I'm gonna tell you one
always.
thing right now, yeah.
Unai Emery, Rashford,
Paris
PSG
Saint-Germain
battling.
against Liverpool was incredible. Both legs, home and away. Yes, they lost the first leg at home, but second leg they beat them, went to penalties. Great, they won. I think one thing which I'm seeing from a lot of people, they're forgetting one massive part. The way people are describing that matchup and the way people are describing the fact that they beat Liverpool, they think PSG beat them by 5 or 6 or 7-0.
Again, this is why it's very hard having football conversations with Real Madrid fans, because the only thing Madrid fans believe in is advancing. But us, pretty much every single club apart from Madrid, the performance is very important for us, and sometimes even more important than the result in many games. You know, how to talk about them. And yes, Paris Saint-Germain did demolish Liverpool across both legs, despite not having that kind of a scoreline, because of the performance. And obviously, that's more important going into the Villa game. What's more important, that PSG absolutely made fun of Liverpool and now are going to play Villa, or that PSG narrowly escapes a penalty shootout against Liverpool? Obviously, that wouldn't be fair. But again, this is Madrid fans. It's always the agendas. Did you go through? Did you know how much destruction can only be by a scoreline? It's
In reality, they lost the first leg. They lost the first leg. In reality, they could have conceded a goal in the second leg.
Again, these are the same people. These are the exact same people that said whatever PSG did in the first leg doesn't matter because they lost the first game. They lost the game, and Liverpool are gonna win them. I can bet how much. I don't want to bet, but I can bet that this guy predicted Liverpool to knock PSG out simply because they performed well, but they didn't get a goal, so it doesn't matter. Basically, just baseless logic as usual.
Leg of the second half of the second leg at Anfield, if it wasn't for Donnarumma in defense. In reality,
no. I mean, our midfield had a great game, a good game. Our attack had a good game. What's this disingenuous? What's that word? What the fuck is this, man?
Penalties, 50-50, bro. So PSG, they went through by penalties. They were better in both games.
Again, we can take another example. Your beloved Real Madrid, they went past Atletico Madrid on penalties, PSG on penalties. Did we go through the same way? Were we as comfortable? Were we as convincing? Again, it's very hard having a football conversation with Madrid fans. Like, you can say this for Madrid, playing against Arsenal, and win only matters. But when you're going to talk about other teams, and you're simply going to look at the results and all of this from the Madrid perspective, it's honestly disgusting, man.
But they went through by penalties. Okay? That is something to bear in mind. Because the way people make it seem, they destroyed Liverpool.
They did destroy Liverpool. That's why we watch games and we do not watch FootMob for stats. Like, what was happened to the sport,
Yes,
man?
they did. but they could have literally been eliminated.
Again, what is that supposed to mean? What is that? Because if I tell the exact same thing to him, Real Madrid were garbage against Atletico Madrid across both legs and made it through, he would still be extremely confident for the leg against Arsenal. And they were way worse than us.
They could have been
my
eliminated if Liverpool actually...
You know what this is? This is a person having an agenda, basically wanting PSG to lose. Completely understandable. But then making up delusional stuff. I said, this is the same person that predicted us to lose to Liverpool. He will predict us to lose to Villa. And obviously predict us to lose to Madrid in the semis. And yeah, PSG will prove him wrong every single time. Like,
if Liverpool were good in the second leg, Liverpool would have gone through.
Liverpool were good in the second leg. Especially in that second half. Like, we were... Obviously, I don't think he even watched the game by how he's talking about. We were pressured heavily by Liverpool, but performed really well. And you talked about our goalkeeper and defense, you know, having an incredible performance at Anfield, keeping clean sheet for 120 minutes. But I don't understand. Like, I don't even know what he's saying. Like, sometimes he says this, sometimes he says that.
Liverpool would have gone through. And if a header that hit the post, Kwanzaa, X, Y, and Z. Now they're going into a matchup. Bear in mind, the last game, they were there. No one gave them chance. No one gave them...
Again, because of an agenda. Every single person that watched PSG and didn't have an agenda knew that this game was at least a 50-50, if not PSG slight favorites. But everyone that does not watch football, does not understand football, and is a casual of the sport, expected Liverpool to go through with some ease in this game. What's this argument about now?
Chance because Liverpool, before that point, were undisputed the best team in the world.
They were not. They were not. Just because they finished first in the Champions League table and were first in the Premier League table and still are at this point, would not mean they're the undisputed best team in the world. That's not how football is decided. It's by watching the games with your eyes, and then you can decide what teams are the best. Before we faced Liverpool by like 2-3 months, I already said they're not on the level. This is an overrated team. But yeah.
They were winning everything. They were in the Carabao final. They were still in the FA Cup. They were they weren't. They were still in the FA Cup leading to January. They were leading the league by so many points. They had beaten all the best teams in the world. Salah, Van Dijk, everyone's crazy. This game, boom, PSG ended the hopes. Now PSG is going to the Aston Villa matchup as the heavy favourites. Heavy favourites. If you ask the streets, I think everyone, the betting favourites, everyone, I think this is like 90-10. 95-5. No one has given Aston Villa a chance. And
okay, I mean, he's right about that.
Where
the first right thing he said in this video. So
PSG will crumble. This is where I think PSG will go down. Their pressure will be too much.
The pressure by Aston Villa and the pressure by being the top dog going into the game is his logical reasoning why Paris Saint-Germain would get knocked out versus Aston Villa. I have no words, man. I have no words. Like,
expectations will be too high for them. And Luis Enrique will not adapt to the expectation. And the players, they're not going to come clutch. They will crumble under pressure. The likes of
like these are the same people that after we beat Aston Villa convincingly will say, you know, I was joking. I went with a small feeling. I didn't really believe in it.
Dembouz, as good as he's been over the past couple months, that will fade away.
Again, he's another one of the cult. I'm gonna call them part of a cult, which believe in patches and everything. They think that like Dembele performing like this is not what's expected. Obviously, he's performing above expectations, especially goal scoring wise. But this is what Dembele should always have been. And I mean, if Dembele for some reason does not come up clutch in either of the two ties, we have Bradley Barcola, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Desiree Doué, Ashraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes can do something from the fullback positions. Again, it's hope, it's copium, it's delusion to make up a completely irrelevant opinion.
The likes of the midfield of Neves, Vitinha, Fabio Ruiz, it's been good. I'm not denying it. It's so good. It will fade away as well.
It will fade. What the fuck does this even mean? Like, Vitinha has been pretty much the best midfielder in the world since the year 2024 started. Was in the Champions League team of the season last season. Was very great for Portugal at the Euros. Fabian Ruiz came off a player of the tournament in the Euros. Why is he talking about this is some fucking 2-week patch or something? What? Like, it's not even entertaining. You know, some people that have, you know, a delusional opinion, it's funny listening to them. But here, it's just a military propaganda agenda, man. What the fuck is this, man?
And the Donnarumma.
I don't even think he has this much agenda when he talks about FC Barcelona, your actual rivals.
And the Marquinhos that we all know or always have their misses about them. Hey, trust me, we're about to see more misses about them.
I mean, look, I'm not going to defend Donna and Marquinhos too much. They do have the potential blunder in them in the Champions League. But it's usually come in the high pressure moments against big teams. Like against Madrid, I could be a bit, you know, wary that could happen. Not against fucking Aston Villa, man. Plus, Marquinhos is going to miss the first leg. So it just talks about the knowledge this guy has.
I don't think PSG, I don't think PSG will hold up to the pressure and actually qualify. Because on the other side, I look at Aston Villa side, who first of all have got one of the best European managers out there in Unai Emery.
Again, where has this myth come from? I don't understand. Where has this myth come from that Unai Emery is some insane Champions League manager? What the fuck?
Someone who is familiar with the knockout stage. Someone who understands what knockout's all about. Someone who at one point, when no one expected them, and let me take you back to the memory lane. When no one expected, yeah? When they went to the quarterfinals with Villarreal, they faced Bayern Munich, slapped them up, where Bayern Munich was the heavy favorite.
I mean, first of all, that is one out of everything. That's the only thing Unai Emery has in the Champions League. Second of all, they did not slap Bayern. I think they went through on one goal. They won in the home game and then drew the second game.
When everyone expected a semi-final between Bayern Munich and Liverpool, Unai Emery had a completely different script.
And let's talk about that Bayern side. That Bayern side is nowhere close to the quality of this Paris Saint-Germain side. And they were managed by unexperienced manager in Nagelsmann. It was his first season at Bayern. Unai Emery is coming up against Luis Enrique, one of the most experienced Champions League managers that are currently managing, and has a treble to his name. This is the issue when an agenda takes over logic and sensible arguments. It just blinds everything into an agenda. I believe in this. I believe Aston Villa, so I'll grab this. I will grab this. Yeah, this suits my agenda. This.
Destroy them. Beat them. Beat Bayern. Lost to Liverpool in the semi-finals. No harm with that, to be fair. But I see this similar to the way I saw a couple years ago, where everyone expect Bayern and now PSG.
Again, the only comparison between the two is that Unai Emery is managing a team that's coming in as the underdog against another team. That is the only thing that is linking this game to the Villarreal Bayern game. The only thing. No more links. That's the only link. Is that PSG and Bayern team comparable? No.
PSG to beat Unai Emery, Villarreal, not Aston Villa. Unai's got a completely different script. Because the way Aston Villa has been in the Champions League, convincing as hell. Convincing as hell. Yes, you can say they beat Club Brugge. Who the hell is Club Brugge? I don't care. It's just the way I'm seeing it. And now they're picking up form. Now Aston Villa are not the team who were poor, losing the Premier League, losing stupid games. Nah. They're now as consistent as hell, fam. The players are shaping up. Ollie Watkins, who started the season on the bench, there was rumours about him, question marks about him. Can he maintain what he did last season? Duran is coming in. Is his form going? Is he going to be sold to Arsenal? Since Duran has left, and since Marco Asensio and Marcus Rashford has come in, Ollie Watkins is playing to the level that he was last season. Rashford is playing to the level that we all think of Rashford. Finally, he's here. Marco Asensio is moving like Leo Messi.
Look at this genuinity in the arguments right here. Fabian, Vitinha, Neves, Dembele, it's a patch that will end. This one that is an actual patch will not end.
in the Premier League, bro. Look at this form that they've had. Look at this form
Cardiff, Club Brugge, Brentford, Club Brugge.
they've had. This has been, they're going away to Brentford. Brentford, you might think, is dead. My brother, Brentford is the same team who always scores goals. Always scores goals at home. And
Brentford. Hyping up a team for being, what, 5th, 6th place, 7th place in the Premier League, where we played the best team in that league by a distance and destroyed them. No. But Aston Villa beats Brentford.
Beats all the best teams in the world. They kept the clean sheet away from home.
Imagine keeping a clean sheet away versus Brentford. Yeah, Aston Villa going through, man. Aston Villa going through.
Who's been on form.
He beats Brighton. This thing, like his Faisal here, right here, he hangs out a lot with, like, he's not the typical Madrid fan that mostly cares about Madrid, looks at Barca a bit, maybe PSG buying a bit. He's very Premier League infested. So he has this imaginary thing that Brentford, Brighton, these are teams that we actually can hype up.
Knocking out all the best teams now, fam. We're
Brighton.
beating them as well 3-0 at home.
Wow.
Away from home.
Wow, insane.
They are picking up
Brighton.
form at the right time, and the players are playing better at the right time. And the injury crisis is no longer gone. Pau Torres is back. Pau Torres is back. Here. Tillemans is here. Wally Watkins is hitting form. Bro, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be so real. With the way I think, matchup-wise, I think it will favour Aston Villa. Because I think Aston Villa are more than happy to sit back. More than happy to stay structured and in unity in the back four. And they will hit them in counter. They will hit them in counter. I think Aston Villa's midfield are more physical than Liverpool's midfield, which will help massively. The likes of Onana, Tillemans, Boubacar Kamara are more physical than the likes of Alexis McAllister or Gravenberch, which was the weak point of the matchup between PSG's midfield. PSG midfield might be more technical. This team are way more physical. Something that Liverpool didn't have.
People said the same thing when we were going to face Liverpool, that they are a more physical team. How are you going to pull up with Neves and Vitinha as your double pivot? And now they're doing, again, the same non-logical argument.
On top of that, you've got a gunman up front and Ollie Watkins, something that Liverpool didn't have. And this time around, they've got more attacking options compared to Liverpool. Liverpool only had Mohamed Salah, and Mohamed Salah was non-existent. So if you take away Mohamed Salah, you're not going to expect Diaz, Nunes, Jota to step up. At least for Aston Villa, they've got more options. More options. Who do you think has got a better front trio? Whether a better attack? Liverpool, Aston Villa, bro. They've got more options going forward. More reliable options. And look, I think now it will hurt PSG a lot. It will hurt PSG a lot. And I'm telling you right now, for this game, the only way PSG can win is where I see defensively. Having the likes of Matty Cash, the likes of Digne, Mats on the left, that might be a problem. But I think Unai Emery might have a different strategy in mind. And I think Unai Emery will win against Aston Villa. And Unai Emery will take Aston Villa to the semi-final of the Champions League.
But this was a waste of my precious last 15 minutes. Basically just listening to a madman having an agenda, smirking through the video, unsensical, unlogical arguments, Aston Villa, Unai Emery, bringing up completely irrelevant stuff. Fuck, man. Oh, I forgot how delusional people are and just, And the only way we could beat them was because they have Madsen and... yeah, I can't wait to win the Champions League, man. All right, let's go to the next one.
Talk about Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. The front three, obviously, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele is playing very, very well, and then Barcola as well. The midfield with Neves playing brilliant, Zaire Emery playing brilliant, and then you've got the defence with Marquinhos. De Boer is playing really, really well, the lad that scored the winning penalty. I tell you, everybody's playing well. Hakimi, Donnarumma made some good saves at Anfield. Didn't really have too much difficulty, didn't really have a lot to do, didn't really have too much difficulty in that game, but he made a couple of good saves when he was needed. Nuno Mendes is playing very, very well at left back as well. The whole team It's just brilliant. From start to finish, it's brilliant. And this is a PSG that we've never seen before. They're hungry, they're driven, they're passionate, they're working as a team. This is the key word, team. Something that Paris Saint-Germain have never had. Because they relied on individuals. You've got Messi.
Again, I don't understand why so many of these people I'm predicting to, whenever they have to talk about PSG and prop this team, they have to talk negatively about the previous team. And yes, when Messi came, we overdid it. It didn't work. 2 rounds of 16 knockouts. But before that, the Mbappe era, yes, it could have been better, but it was still successful, especially for Paris Saint-Germain as a club. We reached our first Champions League semi-final, our first Champions League final, and we definitely did play as a team. We had the best defense in 1920 under Tuchel. Yes, for the 2 years when Messi was there, yes, you can say that. It totally works, even though I don't really think so, but that argument can work. But I don't know why never played as a team. 15-16 team, 16-17 team. It was just 2 years, basically.
Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, all in the same front three. And they got nowhere. You got Sergio Ramos in there that played as well. Ibrahimovic has played there as well. David Beckham at one point was over there as well. For me, the ball got it wrong. Qatar got it wrong. They got the managers wrong. Even though Thomas Tuchel was a good manager, it was the wrong principle that was going on. They were relying on individuals.
I mean, again, if for example, Neymar's shot was a bit too wide of Neuer and went in, nobody would be saying this. But obviously, winning a Champions League and losing a Champions League final is a huge difference. But again, I don't understand these arguments at all. At all. Yes, we did rely offensively on Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, and Angel Di Maria whilst having a very strong defense. And it worked out. We beat a lot of teams. We reached, stages we've never been before in as a club. So again, I don't understand this. You can prop this team without saying delusional, disrespectful stuff to the previous PSG teams.
And some average players alongside. Now, they've got 11 players that are hungry, that want to...
Average players, when we had Neymar, Mbappe, and Di Maria as a front three, we had Marco Verratti in that team, we had Thiago Silva, we had Marquinhos, we had Kimpembe, we had Keylor Navas. When we had 15-16 with Ibra, we had Angel Di Maria, we had Verratti, we had Matuidi, we had Pastore, we had Thiago Silva, we had Maxwell, we had Cavani. Like, what is this, man?
Work and that are destroying anybody in their way. And they really, this is PSG's year. This is PSG's year. They will never, ever get a better chance of winning this competition than now. They really...
I mean, yes, this year we've been really great, and it would be heartbreaking if we do not win the Champions League this season. But looking at this team, a lot of the players haven't even reached their peak yet. Age-wise, it's a very young team that's only going to grow under Luis Enrique as well. But we 100% need to win this season. But trying to act like this is some lost chapter and this will be the only opportunity, no.
Won't. If they get past it, Aston Villa, let's say, they've got a beatable team between Real Madrid and Arsenal, then you've got a final. And I really do think this is PSG's time to win the Champions League. They will never, ever get a better chance than this. So do you guys think it's PSG's year? Let me know in the comments. But they're taking on a very, very good Aston Villa side who had just reached, obviously, the FA Cup semi-final, in which they've got a game against Crystal Palace. The Villa fans will not be happy about that. They've got a terrible record against Crystal Palace. But yeah, they beat Brighton in their recent game coming in the recorded. Marco Asensio's on fire. It's his return to Paris. I mean... Going to be interested to see him going back to PSG because of how well he's playing for Aston Villa. Marlon scored a goal against Brighton, so he's been playing okay. And Marcus Rashford, what a turnaround for him. He's working hard, he's tracking back, he's getting assists, he's scoring goals, and he's having fun. He's got a smile on his face playing football, and that's what it's about, and that's what Rashford lost. He lost his love, and that's what... seems that Manchester United do that to a lot of players. Look at Sancho at Chelsea, look at Anthony at Real Betis. I could name a lot more, but... Marcus Rashford, it's good to see a smile on the lad's face. Villa are playing well. They're only 3 points behind City now in the Premier League. I do think they're going for a top 4 push. They're obviously looking for an FA Cup. I don't think Villa are expected to get past PSG, but the fact that the second leg's at Villa Park, and if they go to PSG and get a result like Liverpool did, it's not impossible. Liverpool did it. They soaked up pressure for the whole 90 minutes and then hit them on the break with literally 2 shots the whole game, and Harvey Elliott scoring. So it's possible. It really is. Like, they only just beat... Like, PSG only just beat them on penalties. They probably should have scored 6 past them in the first leg and another 3 at Anfield, but they only beat them on pen, so it is possible for Aston Villa. Just don't think it's going to happen. I can see Villa scoring, though. I can see Senzo just popping up with a goal. Maybe to score first, and then it'll really wake. I just don't know what PSG are going to show up. Are they going to go and kill them from minute 1, or are they going to bide their time, tire out Villa, and then kill them from minute 60? That's how they did against City, but they tried to kill Liverpool from minute 1, and it didn't really work. It did in the second leg because they got themselves an early goal, which is what they needed. But for me, I'm going to go PSG 3, Aston Villa 1. I can see Rashford or Asensio popping up with a goal, but I just think PSG are too strong at home. If that happens, can Aston Villa overturn a 2-goal lead at Villa Park in the second leg? I don't know, but I just want to see how good PSG are, and I really want them to do well, because it's about time somebody different won it this year. And if it's not Barcelona, for me, I want it to be PSG. They're the two teams. That'd be a great final if we got it, Barcelona versus PSG.
Well, a lot of prop. Thank you so much for the prop. Maybe some over prop. Predicted a 3-1, exactly like me for this first leg. Yeah, I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. But yeah, overall great thoughts here. Moving on to the next one.
Marco Asensio got shipped out on loan in favor of the attacking options that PSG have now. It's gonna be a cool game. Rashford going back to Paris and destroying them a couple of years back.
It ain't happening, bruv. It ain't happening.
Creating the bad blood. It doesn't exist. He's just
The story of Varvar's writing those storylines.
That's a stretch. Right
Remember when Varvar said 6-1 Liverpool against PSG?
How did that work out?
It didn't work out. I think right now PSG is going to destroy Aston Villa. I see the attacking power they have. They're one of the best teams in the world. Aston Villa is too inconsistent. I'm going to go 6-1 PSG.
6-1.
I think it's going to be a
That's a
thrashing.
rage bait, bro.
It's not a rage bait, bro.
That's a rage bait.
You look at the defensive line that Aston Villa has, especially playing a high line with Disasi. Bro, Cavara, Doué, Barcola, Dembele running at Disasi. These guys are cooked. I'm not going to cap.
I don't think in any phase of the pitch does Aston Villa have any strong points compared to PSG.
No, I mean PSG have a ridiculous young midfield versus Aston Villa do have a good midfielder, and they've supported themselves with more depth in the January window. I don't think 6-1 is the case. I got PSG. I'm gonna say 5-3.
5-3.
So 2-1, 5-3 victory. Okay, I could see that happening. And 6-1. That would be an amazing result for Paris Saint-Germain. But a lot of prop, once again, from these two guys right here. I know that last one is a troll. He would just say like Villa on pens or something. But yeah, cheeky predictions.
So high scoring.
Varvar, you seem awfully quiet, hermano.
Brother, I'm just letting the comps get out quick right before. Go.
I'm sure.
There's no way you went with Aston Villa.
Millie, what did you predict?
There is bro.
Bro, this is 4-2 PSG. I gave Aston Villa some brownie points here and there.
From Ollie Watkins goals.
Yeah, they'll get a 90-minute here and there. But PSG have solidified themselves as one of the favorites in the Champions League, just based off that Liverpool performance. PSG, you are going through in my books.
I have 4-3 PSG. Okay. So I'm gonna.
All right. Everyone predicted PSG to go through. A lot of PSG prop as well.
Close, okay.
I'm gonna say it's a close game.
Ballsy, Varvar, bro. Be ballsy.
No, I'm not going.
Listen, Aston Villa have not
stupid, bro.
Bro, they have not had experience in the Champions League that they've gone
Wait,
this
so
far.
according to Varvar's predictions already, if Aston Villa get knocked out, then the Premier League, the great Premier League, will only be left with one team in the Champions League.
Once again, our teams
So if
lost
Inter
to
go through-
but once again, our teams lost to Real Madrid and PSG, not Feyenoord, PSV, and Club Brugge.
So-
Your league is terrible. Stop bringing it up.
So
Rage bait of the day, gentlemen.
It's not rage bait, bro. It's
Inter
just
go through-
stupidity.
On time.
So if Inter go through, there's only going to be one of each leagues. And
If Inter lose to Bayern and there's only one, let's say one Prem team in the next, not even, let's say it's 0. We're in the same boat, my brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, same couch.
Exactly.
Won the same amount of Champions League this year.
Get the popcorn, comes in next to us. We're going to watch the Champions League final
It'll be
together.
fun.
I mean, I think PSG are definitely the heavy favorites here. Aston Villa, listen, if you could pull off something, I'm sure Varvar would be cheering as well. I guess we're going to have to watch the live streams to see if Varvar
tune in.
cheers. Got to tune in
We're
for that.
PSG Ultras for the live stream.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Les Bleus. Les
Yeah,
Bleus.
I know, yeah,
I think there's potential here that because PSG, it's gonna right after international break, right? So there's gonna be 2 weeks of them not having played together. There could be a bit of rust coming back from international break.
Aston Villa's some
Listen.
shit, and other players get called up.
I mean, most of those players got French dons called up for the French national
Yes,
team.
but they're not playing the
Doesn't
same footy
matter.
as Luis Enrique. So for 2 weeks, they're not gonna be brother.
Okay, I don't think anything more would be said here. Shout out to all of them. PSG prediction. Move on to next one. We got Nabhuto. Let's
Quarterfinals
see.
are happening really soon, so it's only right that I give PSG versus Aston Villa. And let's start.
Okay. First of all, I remember I've watched this guy's predictions before. I think he predicted Liverpool to go through this one. And I think last year this dude predicted us to both lose to Barca and to Real Sociedad, which was completely embarrassing. Let's see what you got to say this time.
This off by talking about PSG first, one of the best teams in the world at the moment. If we literally just look at their League One performances, they're still undefeated and are running away with the league title. And if we look at their Champions League performances thus far, I mean, ever since matchday 7 of the group stages, they've been on fire. They beat Man City from behind 4-2. They beat Stuttgart 4-1 away from home. They absolutely destroyed Brest 10-0 over 2 legs in the playoffs. And then against Liverpool, despite getting a very tough draw against the club that finished on top of the new UCL League phase, they took care of business. Sure, they lost 1-0 at home in the first leg due to Liverpool's only shot on target from Harvey Elliott, but they dominated the match, having 27 shots, 10 of them being on target, and having 71% possession. And if it wasn't for an Alisson masterclass where he was saving multiple shots left and right in both halves, and VAR chalking out Kvaratskhelia offside goal, this game could have gone very differently. But after the game, PSG were feeling very confident that they could come back in the second leg at Anfield. And Luis Enrique even said so in a post-match press conference, and so did Vitinha. And initially I was laughing at this, because coming back at Anfield in the second leg against this Liverpool side, I was like, no way that's happening, bro. And this is coming from the same Liverpool fan who said in my first leg prediction video that PSG was going to win this round 16 tie, and I just had a weird feeling about it. But since we won 1-0 in the first leg, I switched my prediction to Liverpool in the second leg prediction video that I made. And for that, I'm sorry, Liverpool fans, because Jigs Buto striked again. I should have just stuck with my PSG prediction, man. Because in the second leg, although it was a much more even affair with PSG having 21 shots and Liverpool having 19, PSG had the better opportunities at goal, with them having 8 shots shots on target and us only having 3 at home, which is nuts. Not only that, even though in the second leg, Liverpool were having the greater chances initially, PSG would get themselves back in the game, and Ousmane Dembele would eventually score in the 12th minute to even out the tie. And this result would stay all the way until the penalty shootout, and of course, in typical Liverpool unlucky fashion, we will lose both coin tosses, and PSG got to take the penalty kicks in front of their fans, while also being able to go first, which is statistically an advantage. I had a feeling that after this coin toss happened, that it just wasn't going to be our day, and I was right, because PSG were scoring every penalty thanks to Vitinha, then Mr. Big Schlong Controller Ramos, then Ousmane Dembele, who shot the pen with his weaker right foot, and then Desire Doué scoring his cold penalty too. While on our end, although Salah scored first, Donnarumma staying in the middle showed that he wasn't afraid not to dive, and eventually these mind games would play a part in him saving Darwin Nunez' penalty. Of course, Darwin was going to miss, we all knew it, and then saving Curtis Jones' penalty, knocking out the initial favorites to win the Champions League in just around 16. So if PSG can knock out my club Liverpool in this way, one of the best teams in the world currently, what makes you think that they can't do the same against Aston Villa? Now yes, Aston Villa have been very impressive in this 24-25 Champions League campaign. They managed to finish in a top 8 spot during the league phase, which made sure that they didn't have to participate in the playoffs and secure themselves an automatic ticket to the round 16, beating teams like Bayern Munich 1-0, Leipzig 3-2, and Celtic 4-2 on the way to getting there. And then for the round 16 draw, they did get the luckiest in terms of playing the lowest ranked team still left in Club Brugge. Initially, I thought maybe Club Brugge could pull off the upset with them actually beating Villa in the league phase 1 at home, but the round 16 games went completely different for them because Villa smoked Brugge. In the first leg, although Brugge had the more shots of possession while also playing at home, they failed to get the result they wanted, with them allowing Leon Bailey to score early in the 3rd minute, and despite the Kuiper scoring to bring Brugge back level, Brandon Michel would score a very unlucky own goal in the 82nd minute to put Brugge back behind, and then after a sloppy foul from Chiles in the box, experienced Champions League player Marco Asensio would tug away his penalty to give Villa a 3-1 win away from home in the first leg. And then in the second leg, Villa were just completely dominant. Club Brugge really had no chance. On the stat sheet, Villa had 14 shots to Club Brugge's measly 4, while having 10 of them on target, while Brugge only had 1. Additionally, Kirani Sabe of Club Brugge would sabotage his own team by getting a red card in the 16th minute for taking out Marcus Rashford, who was running in on goal. And
What is this, man? I want to hear something about the game, not in...
they could beat this PSG side is something I don't really know if I'm comfortable in saying. Look, both Asensio and Unai Emery want to prove their old club something, and Marcus Rashford has already dunked on PSG once before. But this PSG side, man, there's something different about them. And PSG managed to take down my club Liverpool, something Aston Villa has failed to do on both occasions when they played against us this season. Not only that, Aston Villa are currently 9th place in the Premier League and probably have to focus on trying to get into a European spot. Because let's be honest, winning the Champions League is far from a guarantee for them. And they've got some tough fixtures coming up. So with that being said, I got PSG making it to the semi-finals with relative ease if I'm keeping it 100. And for some reason, if Aston Villa does beat PSG, screw it, I'll give away a $25 Amazon gift card. How about that? However, the only way y'all can win this though is if you guys join the Discord server. The link is in the description. So make sure you guys don't miss out on this opportunity and join the server. But yeah, I got PSG winning, simple as that. Moving on to the next quarterfinal tie.
All right. Yeah, good prediction. PSG to go through. He's a Liverpool fan. I didn't know that. I don't know. There were no opinions to talk about or have my opinion about. It was basically just a walkthrough about what PSG has done, Villa has done going into this game. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. We have Blackburn overseas. Let's see his prediction.
5 on the spin. They did finish 15th for the league structure way back in when they won 5 on the bounce heading into this Villa. At the moment. Let's go to PSG as they take on the other Premier League club, Aston Villa, at the Parc des Princes. PSG and Luis Enrique, Spanish man in the dugout. They won 5 on the spin. They did finish 15th for the league structure way back in when they won 5 on the bounce heading into this Villa, though. Under Unai Emery, they did finish 8th. They do deserve to be in the top 8, and they're here representing. They've won 6 on the bloody bounce. They've yet to take on PSG, which is not much of a surprise because Villa have been going through the mill of late over the recent years and just happy to be back in European football. And they're doing okay right now. PSG, they won the back of that 4-2 win over Dunkirk over in the Coupe de France. They go through to the final of that. Meanwhile, Aston Villa on the back of that 3-0 over Brighton. They're taking on Nottingham Forest this weekend. Spicy old game. We're expected to win that game. PSG taking on Angers. They're also expected to win that game. PSG got 3 out of the next 4 matches at home, and the bookies have them expecting to win this game as well. I unfortunately do agree with the bookies on this one. I think PSG will have too much class. 2-0 winners, and of course we'll have to put it on the line. Villa have to.
All right, dub. Moving on to the next one. We have the full 90. Let's take a look at his prediction.
It's time for the Champions League quarter-final predictions. Last round, we correctly predicted the scores of Barcelona's game and Real Madrid's game. I have to say, we're coming off the back of a lot of perfect scores. It's probably 2 of the form teams left in the tournament in PSG and Aston Villa. What a huge night it is for Aston Villa. And we correctly predicted that Villa would beat Nottingham Forest 2-1 at the weekend. That was a very, very good result for them. I just think PSG is a step too far. I was saying in my previous round of 16 Champions League predictions that I think PSG could do a number over on Liverpool, and they were much deserved the team to go through in that tie. And Villa aren't as good as Liverpool, even though Liverpool have had a bit of a wobble, and PSG are just going from strength to strength. They're unbeaten in Liga. They're just absolutely crushing it right now, and I think at the home leg, you have to say they at least get the win. That's not to say that Aston Villa can't qualify with a magical night at Villa Park. I do think PSG are going to qualify, and I think they're going to win this first leg. I've actually gone quite conservative. I think it could be more, but just to give Villa a little bit of credit, I'll go for 2-1 to PSG. Just kind of thinking back to when PSG should have scored multiple goals against Liverpool and couldn't do it in the first leg. I'm just going to say 2-1 to PSG, and the tip is going to be PSG and both teams to score at 2.87. So that sees 4 wins, no draws. If there was
all right, valid small arguments. Yeah, dub for the 2-1 prediction. Moving on to the next one. All right, we have football carnage here.
League quarterfinal matchups are right around the corner. Let's get it. I want to start off with what I believe to be the most underrated matchup of the quarterfinals, and that is PSG versus Aston Villa. I think this is going to be a very 2 competitive games. I'm going to be very honest. I think this has the chance to be the best matchup that we get throughout these games, because if you look at it, right, Aston Villa, they are sitting 7th in the Premier League. They're not having the best campaign domestically, but we know what they can do in terms of with this manager, right? Unai Emery, his track record in European competitions speaks for itself, and I know that
European competitions. This is the Champions League. Let's bring Sevilla. They were absolutely owning with Unai Emery the Europa League. Whenever they played Champions League, they were not that good. Like, I don't understand this European.
PSG are the favorites to go through, and I agree with that. But Villa have some players that can hurt you, and the style of play that they're going to implement during these two legs can work in their favor with the squad that they have. I mean, we're talking about guys like Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, John McGinn, Yuri Tillmans, right? Emi Martinez is in goal, right? You got a good midfield, right? Kamara. You also got like Leon Bailey. You got Marcus Rashford, who's there looking rejuvenated. Marco Asensio, he's on loan with Aston Villa from PSG. Now, I don't even know if that guy can play because there might be some stipulations in the loan. But regardless, right? We've seen Unai Emery take squads that don't have as much talent and go deep, right? Let's not forget about what he did with Villarreal only a few years ago. Nobody ever thought that they'd have made it that far. So I think do not write off Aston Villa, right? Again, they're not doing that well in the Prem. They're probably not going to finish in a UCL spot for this season. They'll probably be in the Europa League. But I think this is going to be competitive, right? Because we're going to see the 7th best team in the Premier League play against the best team in France. So let's see if the Premier League can prove themselves in this leg, because everybody talks about the French league being a farmers league and all these different things. So then it should be competitive, right? Because PSG, I'm going to be real. They are cooking at the moment. They are on some amazing form, right? They are first in France, right? They're topping Ligue 1, which is to be expected because they usually do dominate the domestic league and they usually sweep up in terms of winning all the trophies there because they do have the best squad. But what Unai Emery has done, especially since they've lost Mbappe, has been fantastic, bro. PSG arguably play the best football in the world. That team is full of ballers. The technical level at PSG is insane. And I think they are the favorites. I think a lot of us expect them to go through. And we know that they are going to play a very attractive brand of football. They're going to dominate the ball. They're going to create chances. But I think the one thing that can hurt PSG is their finishing, right? We know that they're not as clinical, right? They don't have somebody up front that's super deadly in front of goal. But regardless, I mean, you got to look at that attack. Look at that midfield. Look at the back line. I mean, freaking out. You got Marquinhos. I want to bring that up really quickly. He is suspended for the first leg. So that is going to be a big blow for them. But they have William Pacho back there, right? They're probably going to play Beraldo in center back next to him. Their attack is crazy. You got Ousmane Dembele, who's having the best season of his career, right? You got Bradley Barcola. You got Kvaratskhelia, who they brought in January. You got Desiree Doué, baller. The midfield, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, Warren Zaire-Emery. The back line, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes. And then you got Donnarumma in goal. And we just saw PSG knock out arguably the favorites heading into the knockout stages, which was Liverpool. Liverpool struggled to break this PSG team down. Like, I think a lot of people were surprised at how well PSG have played. Now, in terms of what I think is going to happen during this, in terms of the aggregate scoreline, I think it's going to be close. And I'm giving PSG on aggregate, I think they advance to the semis 3-2. Do not write off Aston Villa, chat. And I can tell you exactly how this is going to go, right? PSG are going to dominate the ball. Villa are going to sit back. They're going to allow PSG to pass it around, and they're going to look to hit them on the counter, right? You got Rashford, runner. You got Ollie Watkins up front that likes to play on the counter as well. You also have guys like Leon Bailey. It's a lot of pace in that Aston Villa attack. And also their midfield is very structurally sound, and I think their back line is decent, right? And then, again, I brought up Emi Martinez, who is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's going to be able to withstand the pressure that PSG are going to apply. But I just think, ultimately, I think PSG's midfield and their attack is going to be too much for Aston Villa to handle. And again, if Liverpool couldn't really break them down, if Mo Salah went missing across 2 legs, I mean, you have to give PSG the advantage here. So I'm predicting 3-2 on aggregate, right? The first leg, like we said, is in France. I think PSG are going to win that game 2-1. And then I think the second leg at Villa Park is going to end 1-1. And it'll end 3-2. So let me know what you guys are saying about PSG versus Aston Villa. Next, let's get it.
Well, I mean, one of the first guys that, I mean, I disagree with the prediction. He had the 3-2 prediction. I don't think the game would be that tight. But to everything he said, it was all valuable arguments. Like, this guy knows enough about Aston Villa more than me, knows enough about PSG, has us going through, but it could be a tighter game. It could be, who knows, especially with Paris Saint-Germain's potential in clinicality in front of goal, despite us creating so many chances. Wow. Yep. Good video. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we have the place of football. Let's see his prediction.
Only hunting whores that does it for view. But for once, I'll do a punishment. If Arsenal do manage to beat Real Madrid and go through to the semi-finals, I'll do my next video in my boxes. What? I think Aston Villa have more of a chance to go through than PSG. So let's preview that as my next game. PSG versus Aston Villa. Let's talk about PSG first, as they're going to be the home team for the first game. PSG look absolutely phenomenal. I think for the first time in so many years, people actually quite like watching PSG. For once, for so many years, PSG are actually a team that a lot of people from the neutral perspective can actually respect for once. It almost feels wrong, to be honest. This feels like almost bigging up Vince McMahon, to be honest, in the year of 2025. It's like, no, what are we doing here? He's cancelled. It's almost like saying Chris Benoit is quite... It almost feels like I'm licking the back of my grandma's feet, and I'm actually starting to think to myself, it does taste a bit like Walker's Ready and Salted. Not the best flavour in the world, but it's not the worst either at the same time.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck?
I'm included in that. Not licking my grandma's foot, that's just weird. She's dead, so I wouldn't do it for her anymore. But that's kind of PSG's got this good team, young team, club players, less egos, less big names, less billboard players, less vogue players.
What the fuck am I watching? What kind of video is this? Is the first thing. And the second thing I have to say is, once again, these people, the way they're talking about previous, a lot of people that love football love to watch Mbappe era at Paris Saint-Germain, especially under Thomas Tuchel, even under Unai Emery. That was probably potentially my favorite just attacking footballer. How he had Cavani, Di Maria, Neymar, and Mbappe performing, scoring the most goals across entirety of Europe. Again, instead he said like agenda, maybe people don't like the egos, but for strictly talking about from a football perspective, yes, now we are so attractive to look at, but we used to be very attractive to look at before. Again, I don't understand why these people keep on doing these gimmicks. I don't understand them.
Almost, and just a team that plays good football, understands us tactically, absolutely. In the midfield is just incredible. The attack is so fluid; it could be coming from any angle. To be honest, it's a really good team, that PSG team. It really is. It's living up to it. It's giving me very much Paris vibes. You know, showing off like they're Dolph Ziggler almost. You know, feeling like they're the main event almost, a showstopper like Shawn Michaels, and that is what this PSG team do. Let's talk about Aston Villa. We disrespect Aston Villa because they've done a really good job to get to the quarterfinals. We know Unai Emery, when it comes to European competitions, this guy just has it for breakfast. This guy, when it comes to European competition, apart from that one time.
Again, this Unai Emery European competitions. Imagine propping someone for what he does in the Europa League, apart from one great run with Villarreal, and calling him a European genius.
Which the only time you could argue had a pretty much a stain on European competition was with PSG, and PSG do have the ability to collapse when it matters most. When the world's watching, when everybody got their binoculars like their Trossard, it almost.
I mean, you just showed a Madrid game, a Barca game, and yes, we've also had it against Madrid and other clubs. This is Aston Villa.
Feels like there's a chance for them to do a PSG, and a PSG is almost a bottleneck. They're the European Spurs almost when it comes to the Champions League, is what some people would say. He's an amazing manager when it comes to the Champions League.
I mean, if you want to make any comparison, just in terms of not having a title won, like, I would say a mixture between Atletico and Arsenal, two clubs that have never won it, but being very close, being consistent. Like Spurs is more like. Next Spurs is the Spurs of the Champions League.
When it comes to any form of European competitions, to be honest, you would think he's part of the Spanish Armada. That's how dominant he is in Europe, to be honest. He's the last dying of a blind breed. I really rate Unai Emery. Despite all that, I am going to go for PSG victory just because I think this PSG team is top 3 best team in the world. I genuinely do believe. I think they're truly amazing. I think Dembele is one of, if not the best player in the world this season. I'm going to go for 2-0 PSG victory in the first game and 1-1 draw in the second game, which of course puts PSG. Barca versus Dortmund.
All right, cheeky prediction, some cheeky thoughts. Another good prediction. Let's get to the final one.